on top of the world, about to jump above it. Take it straight to the moon, 'cause we know how to rock it. Ain't no thing you can do, ain't no way to stop it. Now you're feeling it too, let's get it started. Throw your hands in the air while the beat is dropping. Acting like you don't care when everybody's watching. Just keep whipping your hair like that, you got it. Yeah, you're feeling it too, let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Charts off the meter, turn it up, blow the speakers, make them all to believers. Break through the surface, tell them open the curtains, give them all what they wanted, yeah. Now let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. Yeah, I'm ready, ready. I'm ready. Are you ready, ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Yeah, yeah, I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Let's go. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Yeah, 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 yeah. Give me something new. Time to break loose. Take it to another level. Now we on the move. Shout if you coming with me. Going over the limit. On your mark, keep it steady. So tell me, are you ready? I'm ready, ready. Yeah, let's get it, get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started.
Hopefully you're ready because we are up in the booth. It's time for some Maine Sim Racing Series for the late models and the super late models here tonight, presented by that of Ductless Heating and Air. It's drivers' time to tackle one of the most America's famous short tracks. It's Hickory Motorsport Speedway, and I gotta say, this track, one of the fastest tracks for these drivers, and one of the newest short tracks we're gonna be seeing these drivers tackle here, and I'm excited to see how they're gonna be tackling it throughout the night, as we're going to be seeing our drivers having anything from we're possibly going to be having 4 heat races here tonight. Currently practice underway, but the driver is going to, for the late models here first, going to be a 40-lap featured race. Then later on, it's the super late models, 50 laps the driver's going to be tackling. We're excited for all of the action here tonight. My name is Sam Dyer, and joining me in the booth, usually is that of John Mustin Jr., but we're going to be adding a different broadcaster up here. It's going to be that of Charles Wooten, going to be joining us, and Charles is going to be, Charles hasn't been in the booth for a while, but Charles, we're excited to be having you up here and tackling the super late models and the late models here tonight.
Yeah, second time I've been in the booth here just today. First time earlier on the podcast, we were talking about whether you should tech cars or not. Tonight, there is no teching of the cars because you can't cheat on iRacing. If you do, iRacing just bans your account, so we don't have to worry about that. But tonight, like you said, 40 laps, then a feature, a 40-lap feature, then a 50-lap feature. It's going to be some good racing. I always love seeing heat racing on the asphalt side of things.
Yeah, it's exciting to see how short track racing is going to go on here. Again, this is week 2. Week 1 was at that of Myrtle Beach just a few weeks ago, where we find top of the board points-wise going to be Max Cookson. And Cookson, looking at the board, going to be possibly a no-show here tonight, meaning Devin Landry, who's second in points, could be taking that lead position after tonight.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't want to do, is not show up for a race. If you're the guy trying to pass someone, that's good for you. But definitely a bad idea not to show up to a race. Granted, we're only a couple of races in, but still, you don't want to miss any races. It's just a bad idea, but I am really looking forward to Hickory. I don't know if the drivers are going to be looking forward to it when the season's done, because we come here a ton. But it's one of the newest tracks, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these cars handle here, Sam. is this is a track that we really haven't seen many broadcasts here on LSRTV yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot on LSRT. I've seen a couple of other race, services cover Hickory, and it is a very tough course. Drivers going to be having a handful on the exit of the corners for these drivers, and that's what I've been hearing a lot over the radio during practice. Is they're still trying to figure out how to handle this course, but with no surprise, with the time clicking down immediately after practice, we get into heat racing. So why not take a look at what we're going to be seeing? Our 411 of the evening going to be on your bottom left of what we're going to be seeing for tonight's event. Going to be seeing the fact that we're going to have some trials of drivers currently right now putting on practice. Then we're going to be having ourselves heat racing. Then we go to a 40-lap featured race after a 3-minute warm-up time in between the LCQ and also our featured event. So drivers excited to see how tonight's going to be going. Hickory, one of the first times we're going to be seeing Hickory ran here on LSR TV, but certainly excited to see how the Maine Sim Racing Series is going to be, hitting the course here tonight. 40 laps for the late models, then 50-lap featured race for the super late models, which those bigger engines going to be bringing a lot of thunder later on here tonight. But first, in these late models, this has been the series that's usually have had the more bigger packs of drivers coming in. So, Charles, looking at the fact that this is going to be a bigger field than what we've already seen in the late models in week one, what are something that maybe you're expecting to see here tonight?
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious here. I really want to know, which one of these races do you think we're going to have more cautions in? If you think about these cars, the stock or pro late models have a little bit less horsepower, so we may not see as fast times. Maybe that'll lead to less cautions. We don't know. You have the super late models, they're going to be faster. Could that lead to a few more cautions? That's something I want to look at here tonight and compare these two races. And, maybe they can handle the super late model better than they can the pro late model. It's really, a coin toss at this time to really know which one's going to have the more cautions or fewer cautions.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing to watch out for. And for the drivers here tonight, practice is coming to a close. As you see, we're in the white. Means practice is coming to a close here shortly. We'll be official on how many heat races we'll have in just a few moments as we're waiting for all the timers to go through. And officially, we have been notified 3 heat races here tonight. With our first heat race, drivers starting to grid up. It's going to be 8 drivers hitting the course here. And in row number 1, it's going to be that of Brandon Varney going to be top of the board, with that of Matthew Murphy going to be finishing out row number 1. Again, all grids going to be sponsored by Team 126 Racing. Thank you for being our sponsor here with Scott. That of Tapley going to be starting out for row number 2 with Devin Landry, second in points. Could be our points leader after tonight, finishing out row number 2. Row 3 going to be that of Chris Fortier as well as Chris Burgess in the 47, with row number 4 going to be Tyler Jordan, and as well Tyler Conley going to be finishing out our 8 drivers in heat number 1. 3 heats here, Charles. So we're going to get some quick racing here, 12 laps, and it's going to be our top 4 going to be moving on to the feature race.
Yeah, top 4, which means if you are 5th place, well, you just not going to make it. You're going to have to go through that last chance qualifier and try to work your way through. And, we just heard from Race Control just a bit ago. He said if you're in that last chance qualifier, and I quote, he said, just use your heads, guys. So that is from Race Control. You've just got to be smart about it. Don't overdrive this car, and you might see yourself in victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, we're expected to be having 22 drivers at maximum making it into the featured race. So drivers have a very good shot of making it in. And tonight's race sponsor going to be that of BNS Scrap Recycling for both the late model and the super late model here at Hickory. So big thanks to BNS Scrap Recycling for being the race sponsor here tonight. As drivers getting ready, pace car lights are off. We're going to be going this time by. Again, it's going to be Brandon Varney, Matthew Murphy, and that of Tapley going to be your top 3. Getting ready to get going here. And Charles, excited to see how these heat races are going to go. First time at Hickory here on LSR TV. And we are green here for heat number 1. 12 laps these drivers have to put down on this course to figure out the top 4. They get to move on to the featured race out of 2. It's Varney already ahead, but they're jostling and banging off one another going into 3.
Yeah, Varney's out front. Looking here, you see Tapley behind him in second. And I was just noticed the sun is shining off these cars big time in the corners. It is 3 p.m. in sim time. It is hot outside, as we didn't catch that one too close, but it's 113-degree track temp. So it's hot, and these guys are going to have the sun right in their face. Should make for some very, very slick racing, as you can see somebody getting loose back there.
That's going to be Matthew Murphy on the high side, gets loose, jostles back, and they're already going to be side-by-side, too wide. It's going to be the 23 of that of Fortier is going to be on the outside, and drivers trying to get in line, but you can already kind of tell you're going to be trying to make some big moves with how short this track is. It is 0.36 miles in length. And these straightaways not very long, so you're in the throttle for just a little bit. You got to make sure you're back in the throttle quick, because the 23 of Chris going to be spun around, and he'll bringing out our first yellow in heat number 1.
Yellow's obviously counting here. We'll take a look, of course, at that Pulse Poppers instant replay. Drop it back just a little bit, see what happened, but I wonder if there was contact or just a little bit of getting loose. There may have been contact, Sam.
There, oh no, he just got loose.
Well, yeah, you're right.
And then contact with the 17 at the end. So that of Matthew Murphy kind of just, sometimes you see a car get slipping and sliding, you're already picking your lane, nowhere to go, and Matthew Murphy got a little bit of front end damage, but it's going to be the 23 of Chris Fortier is going to be driver who stays in pit road to get service done, while everyone else still out there on track. And as you can see, laps have not been counting. We're going to be counting the laps when we are green, meaning that Varney's still got to stay up front for another 8 laps once we get going green, as the drivers are stacked up, getting ready to go. Pace car is off, and we are ready to get back to heat racing, heat number 1. We're still trying to figure out who's going to get the win here, as they're already getting moving. A lot of wheel spin, and Varney dashing a little higher than I think he wanted to, but clearing for the lead.
Yeah, he is clear for the lead, and one thing I absolutely love about these Pro Late models, look at the donuts on the side of that white car as he pounds the wall. The number 13 of Tapley, and no, those are not edible donuts. You do not want to eat them. They may look like they're chocolate, but that's tire rub. So absolutely love the damage model these cars have when it comes to the tire wear. But that just shows you, Sam, that these guys are not giving an inch. They are just beating and banging out here.
No, and really a lot of that, donuts that were put on the 13 of Tapley, a lot of it was actually from Varney, who came up, got into the 13, and there he goes, getting loose, contact with Burgess, finishing off the 13 machine. Scott Tapley, who was up front, got moved back. It just snowballs on the 13, and he'll be dropping to the back. We'll take a look here at our Pulse Poppers instant replay for our second caution of heat number 1.
Yeah, definitely, too many cautions, just 2. With caution laps not counting, it won't really affect the racing, but I'm curious here. I believe he just got loose. Yeah, right there, brakes loose, and really got finished off around the thing. So pretty much, just a repeat of what we saw. The car got loose, caused a caution, and then he got finished off, just like caution at number 1.
Now, we do have laps that we're trying to finish off, but we do have a time limit. Each heat race has a 10-minute time limit on these drivers, so we do have to be a little bit concerned about that if the drivers catch this heat race in time as time starts ticking away. But Charles, I think we should be good enough, even with 2 yellows, to finish out heat number 1, but it is a factor that we will keep our eye on if a third caution comes out.
Yeah, right now it looks like we're at just under, right about, we'll say 5.5 minutes left on the clock, 6 laps to go. As long as we do not have caution after caution, we should be done in plenty of time. But hey, cautions breed cautions, so you never really know what's going to happen. It's racing. It's not other sports. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, it's very unpredictable, but this race is so important. Heat number 1, this is for the position for the featured race, so you want to be the driver that's up front. Pace car is off, and we are once again with Brandon Varney going to be leading the way. He's got Jordan to his outside. 29 going to be trying to get launch out of the outside. We've seen here in the Maine sim racing series that outside line has prevailed and getting victories done here. We'll see if we can get it done, but Jordan into the outside wall. And Varney continues to go as Jordan gets tapped, moved up, but holds on, does not spin around, but the 29, what a save for himself. 4 laps to go, coming to 3 laps to go, coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, that's going to put him in a very, very bad position. Now he's going to have to go through that last chance qualifier, B Maine, whatever you want to call it. It is a no man's land. You do not want to be there, and that's going to put Burgess in 4th if he can hang on to it in that number 47 machine. As those guys have been a little squirrely about midfield, but out front as we come to get the 1 to go. White flag is going to be Varney, and of course he's been out front all race. He really hasn't looked back. That right now the 54 Landry's all over his back bumper.
If you've been watching the Maine Sim Racing Series Saturday nights, it's been all Devin Landry who's been dominating, and it's been Brandon Varney just watching the 54 pull away, but in heat number 1, gets a little bit of a bump, but he goes to that of Brandon Varney, getting the victory here, and your top 4 going to be moving on to that of the featured race immediately. Varney, Landry, Conley, and Burgess going to be your front 4 moving forward, while the rest of the 4, that of Tyler Jordan, Scott Tapley, as well as Matthew Murphy and Chris Fortiers, all going to be having to go through the LCQ to try to move on to the featured race. As Heat 2, drivers are getting gridded up. They're already getting heating up and ready to go. Will Sean, that of Kimball's actually going to be running control, so he'll actually not be starting. So we'll be seeing whoever's on the inside for row 2 going to move up to that pole position. But Kyle Mooney's going to be on the outside with that of Corey Bubar going to be moving up to the pole position. Outside for row 2 is going to be that of Chris York. Row 3, we find ourselves with that of Trevor Graffam going to be in the 3 machine for row 3 with Eddie Conley to his outside. The last driver going to be in heat number 2. It's going to be Matthew Burgess in the 38.
And there we go.
And ready to go.
And we are ready to go. And I'm going to say that real quick. That 3, Trevor Graffam, I have not seen that name in a long, long time. The fact that I had a headshot of him in these overlays still is testament that that name and that headshot was probably put in there 2 or 3 years ago. Is how long it's been since I've seen that name on iRacing. So picking up some new people here in the Maine Sim Racing Series.
I mean, hey, Trevor, if you want a new, screenshot for the overlays, you might want to hit us up. We'll try to put a new one in if it's been that long since we've updated your face in our program. But, hey, it's good to see drivers that we've covered here on LSRTV before getting it back on in all the different series that we get to cover, and it's so exciting to see new drivers in. As again, this is heat race number 2 of the late models. These drivers are racing here tonight for the B&S Scrap Recycling Hickory 40 here for the late models. And heat 2, we're underway. We're getting going already as drivers are taking off. It's going to be Corey Bubar who's going to be trying to get a good launch on the inside. But Kyle Mooney, who did a great job this past Saturday night, he's hoping to get a good run on the outside. Hickory showing the inside line might be the preferred lane. But can Kyle on the outside get a good run? And he's still holding strong in turn number 1.
Yeah, you got Bubar and Mooney right now, 1 and 2, like you said, side by side. We're going to try to make it 3 wide, possibly, with Burgoyne in there as well. They think better of it, but maybe, I don't think there was contact between the front 2, but there definitely was a scare between them. And, it's almost impossible. Ooh, if the 90 goes around.
Gonna go around. It's Graffam, Mooney, and also Eddie Conley hard into the wall. Issues for our drivers early, and Graffam's already going to take a tow to pit road. As Kyle Mooney gets going, as we'll take a Pulse Poppers instant replay. First caution of heat number 2, and aggressive driving here between some machines, and we're going to be seeing it coming out of turn number 1, into turn 1, and you're going to be seeing Graffam getting aggressive, and I don't know if he even tapped him, but it was close. And the 11 hard in the outside wall, 3 hard in the inside wall, and Mooney, out of all 3, didn't get the worst of it.
I'm going to take a look here. Let's go from the drone camera. I don't think there was any contact. That car just looked like it just snapped loose on him. I thought there was contact there, and yes, there was a little contact there, but that's not what caused it. It was coming up further, as you mentioned, and we'll see if there was. Oh, there you go. There was indeed contact.
From the first angle, you could have said, hey, maybe there was contact, but yeah, we love the aerial view, sponsored by that from Live Sim Racing. We love seeing those aerial views because it's a better view of the action and what actually went down. Grapham still in pit road getting service done. We got 5 drivers out there on track, and only the top 4 get to move on to our featured race. The other 2 have to go through the LCQ.
Yeah, it'd be unfortunate if you have to go through it. You'll be going to it very quickly, so you won't have to wait too long, as we have one more heat race following this one for the remainder of the field. And if you think the night of racing is just going a little too fast, Sam, you're like, man, this is going to be over. I just got here. Well, don't worry, because we still have another 50-lap feature with the super late models coming up after this. So you actually get 2 races for the admission of 1, which is free. So, Sam, that's a really good deal.
Oh, it's a great deal. As pace car is off, we are green, and it's going to be that of Corey Bubar as well as Matthew Burgoyne, and you can see the smoke just piling out of the 11 of Eddie Conley, who's just puttering along right now, expecting probably a DQ. So right now, our front 4, all they got to do, race smart, not take each other out, and they'll be making it to our featured race, as we see that of Kyle Mooney, heavily damaged, but still running in 3rd, as Chris York willing to just stay in 4th currently, but all the action up front as Matthew Burgoyne has taken the lead and is not looking back.
Yeah, he is not looking back at all, and no surprise, we know he's fast, and he's going to put on a heck of a show for us in that feature race, or probably both feature races for that matter. So we know that he is definitely someone to watch. Bubar behind him in that number 12 machine. He's also, he's someone you have to watch. I haven't really seen anybody in here that I don't think has a chance to win on any given night. They're all fast and competitive. Usually, though, I get to sit behind the scenes tonight. I am, unfortunately for the fans out there watching on the mic, so I do apologize for, one, not knowing their names. I usually don't have to prep for them, so I do apologize for that. But we're going out front right now in that 38 machine and just absolutely dominating.
Yeah, Burgoyne showing a lot of speed, and honestly, we've covered the Saturday races, that being at Nashville Fairgrounds as well this past Saturday when they were at 5 Flags, now here at Hickory. And I got to say, Matthew Burgoyne's been one of those top drivers, same with Devin Landry. And here in heat number 2, it has all been the 38 who started all the way in last place for this heat race and has climbed his way all the way up to the lead very quickly. But I think another factor we haven't really touched on that much here, Charles, this is an open setup race for these drivers, so everyone had all week long, all off-season long, to try to get their setups prepared for tonight's evening.
Yeah, they definitely did, and we're hearing reports from race control of driver having a meatball, and unfortunately it cannot be cleared. So, meatballs are meatballs, and if you don't know what a meatball flag is, well, you should. It's obviously where you cannot repair, but it's not going to matter because Burgoyne is going to end up winning this one.
It's going to be that of Matthew Burgoyne, that of Corey Bubar, and others as we take a look here at our results. Again, it's Matthew Burgoyne winning heat number 2. Corey Bubar is going to get 2nd. Chris York's going to get 3rd, and that of Kyle Mooney is going to be getting that 4th place position. All 4 of those drivers going to be moving on to the featured race. The other 3 drivers, that being Eddie Conley and also Trevor Grapham, all going to be having to work their way through the LCQ. As Sean, thanks for running race control for us. We're loving all the action that you're giving us and making sure that everyone stays in their lane. As heat 3, drivers are getting gridded up. They're getting ready to go, and it's going to be that of Nathan Barth, who's going to be topping the front row. As again, big thanks to Team 126 Racing for being our sponsor, grid sponsor, with that of Jacob Heathcock, who's going to be in 2nd place. Then in row number 2, we find that of Ben Burgess and also that of Brian Treadwell, both drivers that have had very poor races past Saturday, hoping to rebound here tonight, with Jason Rickard as well as Willie Holbrook's going to be in row number 3. Finishing out row number 4, we find that of Dominic Carrick as well as Alan Grass. And I got to say, Dominic in that 5 machine, one of the fastest drivers during practice. We'll see how well he can try to climb his way through the field starting back in 7th.
Yeah, you're definitely, that is not a spot where you want to start from, but hey, that is what you have and you got to deal with it. So Unfortunate to have to start deep in the field, but it's just one of those things. No qualifying, so it's based off pill draw style. And here we go. Green flag is out for the third and final heat race before we move on to the B main.
And it's going to be that of Barth, who's going to be up front in the 37, but you can already kind of tell drivers wanting to test to possibly go 3 wide at times. And oh boy, there goes the 32. Enters turn 3 sideways, still trying to hold on, and it is still a handful for himself. That of Jacob Heathcock, who's doing a great job currently, just holding on. And now it's going to be that of Dominic Kirks, who's going to be moving up to that 4th position, where you want to be. Again, only the top 4 get to move on to the featured race. But a very scary first couple of laps here in heat number 3's drivers still trying to hold on, as that of Treadwell got sideways and drifting back.
Yeah, that 32, when he got sideways, he was basically sideways the whole way between 2 and 3 anyway. But yeah, it's not what you want to do. It did cost him a couple of spots. He's now out of making it directly into the feature, so he's got to pick it up if he wants to get in there. Meanwhile, like you said, Barth out front, Burgess right behind him, and Rickard in your 3rd spot, and Kurt in 4th. So top 4 sitting good right now. You really want to get as high of a position as you can, like Barth is doing right now, to solidify your spot into that final race and start up front, because we have seen many times if you start out front and there's a couple of cautions, you can hang on to that lead for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, a lot of the cautions that we've seen on the Saturday events have been drivers that have been on the first half and second half of the course, but oh no, Barth loose, holding on, and into the outside wall from the lead back to 2nd, and with that damage could be ruining any chance of moving on into the featured race. In a blink of an eye, you go from leading the race to just holding on. Nathan Barth, luckily, is in 2nd place currently, but that was a major scare for himself.
Yeah, that was definitely a scare. He's going to need a new fire suit after that one, because he just about saw his chances of making it to the feature race, at least directly to the feature race, up in smoke, and he's still loose.
Yeah, it's just getting back onto the throttle on the exit, and on the entry, extremely loose is that 37. They're wrecking further behind, but oh my goodness, it was a scary spot for the drivers up front. Alan Grass, I believe, is the driver that initiated bringing out this yellow. 4 laps to go, so when we go green, it's going to be 3 laps to go for these drivers.
And we'll take a look at the Pulse Poppers instant replay here and see exactly what happened to Alan Grass. Well, maybe he didn't go through the grass. Well, there it is right there. Just a nice shot to the 08.
Well, Treadwell, that is not how you make a pass cleanly, but you can tell the drivers, I think at this point, it's not trying to purposely wreck someone, more of, I'm just trying to hold on to my car. And if you drift up and there's a driver to your outside, likely you're going to be taking them with you. But it's Alan Grass getting the worst of it. Luckily not a lap down, but this does put everyone back together, stacking up and getting ready for another attempt here. And with it being only 3 laps to go when we go green, Charles, I would not be surprised if we see some drivers beating and banging off one another.
Yeah, essentially a green-white checker is what we're going to have. And yeah, you're going to see some drivers that are going to get a little rough, especially back here with, it looks like Dominic in the 5, Jacob in the 32 as the green flag is out now. So yeah, you got to watch those back couple of spots. It's going to get a little ruthless back there.
And you're already seeing Barth trying to get a little bit of a higher apex, entry into the corner. Now going to go to the inside. A little bit of blocking from Ben Burgess. That's going to be forcing a more of a shallow entry. But Burgess not getting a great launch out of turn 4. Barth, he might have lost the lead after getting loose, but he's taking the lead right back with that of Rickard going to be on the outside. 2 laps to go. More beating and banging. Burgess and Kurt, that of Rickard's more contact. There goes Burgess into the 5. And that's going to be yellow with 3 laps to go. We're going into green-white checkered attempts, or 1 out of 2 attempts if needed.
Yeah, definitely. I said green-white checkered. Now we're definitely green-white checkered territory here for this one. And you're just going to see it. Let's just go back to the drone camera here and take a look. And it's really just beating and banging. It's hard racing right there. A little shot, another shot back. These guys, you bump me, I'm going to bump you. And bam, the 7 gets put into the outside wall. So, again, it's just hard racing out there, and these guys are not giving an inch right now.
No, and for a lot of these drivers, they do not have a fast repair to work with. So when you get this heavy damage, we already saw it in earlier heats where that of Eddie Conley got himself a heavy damage, got himself a meatball, and actually got disqualified from the race. So drivers got to be careful not to get too much damage where they cannot finish the race because of their too damage for themselves. But for drivers up front like that of Barth, he's feeling very comfortable currently because he's ahead of everyone else. His goal, just get a good launch, and he could be avoiding all the carnage around him. But for Ben Burgess, that was up front in the top 3 for most of this heat race, he went from being inside of the featured race to, well, he might have to battle to get inside. It's going to be that of Barth, Rickard, that of Carrick, as well as Heathcote, who's going to be our front 4. Going green here is going to be 2 laps to go. First attempt at a green-white checkered attempts here. And right now, everyone's playing it nice going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, and checking in on the time as well as we come to get 1 to go. About 4 minutes left, so even with a couple of cautions, we can make it and go an extended lap, so that's good to know. As like you said, right now it's the 37 of Barth, and he's going to come and take the heat race win.
And more drivers as that of Treadwell. You saw the 48 hard into the outside wall out of turn 4. Tried everything to try to make the pass over the 32. Not able to do so. And that is going to be the end of heat number 3. Your result's going to be that of Nathan Barth, Jason Rickard, as well as Dominic Carrick is going to be your top 3. Jason Heathcote going to be your 4th place driver. And Jacob going to be taking that final position from the heat races to go into our featured race, while Treadwell, that of Hillbrook, as well as Grass and Burgess all have to go through the LCQ to make it into our featured race. And all these drivers are getting ready. I believe there's a chance that all of them could make it into the featured race. We're going to wait for confirmation from race control. But, all the drivers excited to see how this race is going to go.
Yeah, they will indeed all make it, as race control just let us know. So they will all make it. That's good for these guys as we're getting ready for, of course, the last chance qualifier, Maine. Well, that's really the only 2 names for it, but it's time to go. They said everyone will make it. So basically, use your heads and race clean. It's 20 laps. We'll just get through this. It's basically just 2 heat races shoved together.
Yeah, and if you've been watching the Saturday night races for the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by that of Douglas Heating and Air, we've been seeing the fact that our front 16 usually get inverted from where they're at when they start. But for the regular season, we're going to be seeing these drivers wherever they qualify after the heat races, the LCQ, that's where they're going to be placed. Tyler Jordan, Eddie Conley going to be your front row going into row number 2. We're going to see that of Treadwell, also Tape Lee, and we're just going to let this cycle through. We'll give note of some of the drivers that we've seen, but we saw Graham make some contact. Holbrook, we're going to see how well he can do here. Murphy, big contact when in his heat race. That of Kimball's not going to be in the race as he's our race control. Then we got Grass, who was involved in a wreck. He's trying to get some redemption. Same for that of Fortier. And Ben Burgess, who had a great start for whenever he did his heat race in heat number 3. He'll have to work his way all the way up front. As the drivers get the green flag, it's your LCQ, your B-Main, and they're already beating and banging 20 to go for this race, and they are already on top of one another on the front stretch. We didn't even get to turn number 1.
Yeah, I don't think some of these guys even got to turn to the front stretch, turn 4, before they started beating and banging. And, race control just tell these guys, use your head. Don't make this last any longer than it has to. It's only 20 laps, and you're going to make it. But, Sam, you've been on the racing service probably as long as I have. Telling a driver to race smart and use their head, that's like trying to tell a baker to bake a cake without using eggs.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're trying to tell these guys, hey, relax. You don't need to be too over-aggressive, but you only have 20 laps. These laps can tick away very quickly, so you want to make sure on these restarts you're gaining as much as you can to make sure you're in the best position for that heat race. And we even saw at the start of almost all the restarts throughout the heat races, there was a lot of wheel spin. Yes, these late models might not have as much horsepower as the super late models, but there is still a lot of power under these engines. And if you get on the throttle too quickly, you can wheel spin, get your rear end just wiggling back and forth, and you might try to correct it, overcorrect, and send your car going a direction you don't want it to go, which we saw there on that first wreck here in our LCQ. So drivers have to be concerned and be careful on these restarts. You don't want to ruin your day. Again, there's no fast repairs, and already the 23 of Chris Fortier is going to be stuck in pit road. Early goings for himself. Ben Burgess came in for a little bit of repairs for himself. We'll see if we have any other cautions that brew up, but you do not want to get any more damage for yourself.
Yeah, you do not want to get any more damage than you absolutely need, and really you don't need any. So they're about to take the green. I want to point this out real quick before they do. Look at that weather. 104 degrees. It actually dropped from 113, so we have lost a lot of heat out of this track. Sam, this could potentially make it a little more clean racing for the feature race.
Yeah, it really could, and this is kind of giving me kind of the same, a little bit of deja vu from Five Flags, where we got a very similar thing happen there, where the drivers had a very hot surface for practice and qualifying, and then it just cooled off throughout the night. As you're seeing drivers battling for second place, it's going to be that of Ryan Treadwell as well as Tapley going to be on top of one another, as well as Matthew Murphy on the inside, all trying to make their moves forward, but stuck on the high line going backwards. It's Tapley who continues to fall backwards. But I gotta say, for Ben Burgess, he came in, got a little bit of repairs. That 7 is on the move, went from last up to third here. Great start for the 7 machine.
Yeah, and we saw it in the back there just a little bit, so we didn't report on it too much. There was a little contact, looked like between potentially the 11 and the 08 towards the back. That is Grass and Conley, but they keep it going. No harm, no foul. I'm sure they aren't going to be sending each other Christmas gifts or cards here in the next couple of weeks after that one, but they keep it green so we don't see the yellow, but they're kind of getting a little spread out. I think that temperature drop has definitely helped. They're able to get a little bit more grip out of these tires and actually drive instead of just kind of sliding around these corners.
Yeah, and I'm wondering for some of these drivers. Oh no, Conley into the inside tire, and he is stuck. Gonna back up, get going again. Ed Conley, this is not the way that he wanted his LCQ night to go. A very unfortunate heat race for himself. Blew up his engine, and now going to be extremely slow. Damaged is the 11. As we're going to be seeing drivers up front. Again, this is an open setup league, so session for these drivers. So they've been spending a lot of time trying to set up these cars perfectly for any type of scenario. And we're seeing it now as drivers slipping and sliding there. As you got to see the 7 moving forward to Burgess, but also Matthew Murphy in the 17 getting extremely loose, but able to hold on.
Yeah, and we not the first time we've seen a driver get into that little piece of the wall right there. Luckily for him, it was a tire. We just saw the wonder wheel Duvall get into the tires or into the barrels last night. And, that was not a fun experience for him. Luckily, he did not get stuck into it. He was able to back out and go again. But 9 laps to go left in this last chance qualifier B Maine. And, of course, it's Jordan out front. He is kind of checked out from Burgess, who we're watching right now. As there you see, I say checked out. It's about, 5 car length thing. But on this track, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5 to 8 car lengths that he's got right now. He's doing a great job. Speaking of tires, you see it there on the entry of turn 1, a little kink to allow drivers from going from the outside of the track to the infield and onto the racing surface. I'm wondering for the featured race, are we going to see anyone hit those tires? You're going to see it here entering turn 1 to your right. Those tires are going to be extremely dangerous if we see someone accidentally hit those. That could be a race ender, as we got 6 coming to 5 laps to go in this LCQ. Again, all these drivers going to be moving on to the featured race, so there's not a lot of pressure there, but they were trying to get the best position possible. And right now, best battle on track is going to be the battle for the lead currently. It's Jordan's got to be careful. Burgess is coming, but Burgess is really wheeling those back tires. He's sliding on the entry of these corners.
Yeah, he is trying to get up and just be with Jordan. He's there but he's not quite there all at the same time, and he is definitely pushing that car as hard as he can go. And you can, like you said, you can see just by how sideways the car is getting. You know, when you overdrive it, that's when mistakes are made. And let's hope nothing happens to Burgess. However, he's going to make it regardless, but I would rather be, you know, somewhere starting around, that'd be 17th, 18th place versus, that'd be 14th is where he'd be starting roughly right now versus somewhere around the 20th spot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick and choose really what you want, right? What poison do you want to be? Do you want to start in the middle of the pack where you're kind of trapped on where you are, or do you want to start in the back where you might have some more better options to place yourself? We're on the white flag. It's Jordan. It's Burgess going out of turn number 4. Tyler Jordan gonna get the LCQ win, holding off Ben Burgess. Which Ben Burgess, what a run. Started all the way in last in LCQ, marched his way up to second, and maybe if he had another extra 5 more laps, could have gotten the pass done. But a great finish there for these drivers. We'll take a look here at the end results of the LCQ. Again, all these drivers going to be moving it on to the featured race. You got Tyler Jordan getting the win. He'll start 13th. Then you've got Ben Burgess, Matthew Murphy, Scott Tapley, as well as Trevor Gatham. Then we've got that of Brian Treadwell, Willie Herbach, as well as Alan Grass, Eddie Conley, and Chris Fortier, who's going to be your 10 drivers from this LCQ. All drivers moving on. We're going to have 22 drivers ready for this race, and I got to say, it's going to be a good one here tonight. But before we get to more racing action, the driver's going to have a 3-minute warm-up time, and we've got to give a great shout-outs to all of our amazing sponsors, starting things off with that of B&S Scrap Recycling. We also got to give big thanks to that of BCC, Bruce Cartier Carpentry, as well as those at that of Beach Ridge Barbershop, also that of Crescent Lumber, B&K Fuel, Maine, mainly that of mainly ductless heating and air, also that of Fortier Graphics, and Wisconsin Speedway. Thank you to all of our amazing sponsors. And for us, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's the 40-lap main race. We'll see you in just a few.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. You can see it on the timer. Warm-up session is coming to a close. That means it is time for our feature race for the late models. It's exciting to see how these drivers are going to be attacking. It's the Maine Sim Racing Series, and these guys are ready, as it is the B&S Scrap Recycling late models here tonight. 40 laps for these drivers at Hickory Motor Speedway, and they are excited to be hitting the course. Hopefully you're ready as well, as the drivers are getting gridded up, ready to go. We're ready up in the booth, so let's see where the drivers lines up after heat races. LCQ, 22 drivers getting on course as we are getting ready. Hickory is on the way. The music's on. That means it's ready for us to get ready. Winner of heat number 1, it's going to be that of Brent Varney. Winner from heat number 2, going to be the outside. It is that of Matthew Burgoyne, finishing up row number 1 again. Grid going to be sponsored by Team 126 Racing. Heat number 2, Victor, it's that of Nathan Barth, with that of Devin Landry to his outside of the 54. Row 3 going to be that of Corey Bubar, as well as Jason Rickards in the 9. Row number 4, finding ourselves with that of Tyler Conley, as well as Chris York in the 86. Row 5, going to be finishing out our top 10. It's going to be Dominic Carrick, as well as Chris Burgess. Then going to be starting in row number 6. It's Kyle Mooney, as well as Jacob Heathcock, who's going to be out there finishing up row number 6. Row 7 is going to be that of Tyler Jordan and also Ben Burgess. Ben Burgess, one of those heavy chargers, our LCQ winner, going to be in those row number 7. That of Matthew Murphy going to be in row number 8 with Scott Tapley. Tapley going to be in that of row number 8 as we get more of the drivers here. It's Trevor Graffam, as well as Brian Treadwell. And in row number 20, going to be that of Willie Holbrook, as well as Alan Grass. And finishing up our final row here at Hickory, it's Ed Conley, as well as Chris Bertier. As the pace car rolls off, it's time to see these drivers. 40 laps, the featured race. We are green, as it's going to be that of Varney and that of Burgoyne. Going to be on his outside in 38. Great launch for himself out of turn number 2. Burgoyne immediately taking the lead, but Varney's right at the quarter panel. This is coming out of 4.
Yeah, Sam, these guys putting on a good show for you. We'll see how the cautions go, and again, sorry to leave you hanging there solo, but of course, it's not as easy as you think to run, 2-3 computers at one time. So we had to focus on one thing. But what a race! We're going out front, followed by Varney and Barth. And I question how many cautions we're going to have. This track, 103 degrees, it's cooled down quite a bit. So maybe those cautions are behind us here for the Pro Late models.
It's potentially looking really good for us to be staying green. Up front, we're seeing our top about 6, 7, all still in line. It's all jam-packed. 2, 3 wide, though, back for that of 11th and 12th. But up front, they're doing a great job staying in line, trying to move forward. It's Devin Landry that we're seeing trying to make the pass here on the 37 of Barth. And Devin Landry comes in as Barth gets into the outside wall, and there's the yellow wrecking behind at turn number 2. It could be the big one. Lots of drivers scattered everywhere. Hickory, you've got a madhouse on the inside as multiple drivers heavily damaged, getting rolling now. It's going to be that of Tyler Conley, as well as the 32 of Jacob, who's going to be stuck as we take a look at our Pulse Poppers instant replay. First replay of the featured race, and they were stacked on top of one another here, Charles.
Yeah, right there you see a little contact between the 3 and the 32, and a cloud of smoke. Can't tell who else it is back there. I believe that's the 31. Yes, it is, of Conley that you mentioned. And a little more. Oh, no, I thought we were going to have contact. That was the pace car. My bad. Pace car. He tried to make contact with him, but luckily you cannot hit the pace car, and the pace car can't hit you, because that would be quite disastrous if it could. And looking here, I believe we were right. I thought it would be, but caution laps look to be counting. We'll see if it goes up to 8 here, or if it stays at 7. No, it is up to 8. So caution laps are counting here in the feature race.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing for these drivers. For the heat racing, it was all about making sure that you could just run your laps, and the cautions came out. Caution laps were going to count, so you knew that you had a lot of green flag racing to go. With caution laps counting, these drivers know you cannot have a lot of caution laps. 40 laps can go away in a blink of an eye. It's going to be that of Matthew Burgoyne, that of Devin Landry, as well as Varney, going to be your top 3. Coming out of turn number 2, it's the B&S Scrap Recycling as they're coming out into turn number 3. Hard racing still side by side. Big thanks to all the amazing sponsors that puts on this show, and we're so proud that it's on LSRTV as Yellow Flag waves. Contact coming out turn number 4, it looks like, and also in the entry of turn 1. As you see there, issues for the 13. I believe that's Tyler Conley involved in another incident.
Yeah, and we did hear Race Control say we don't know what's going on. The caution laps were not supposed to be counting, and not the first time we've seen incidents like this where, they get set up one way, and after a big build update, stuff just changes on you. So we watched this caution happen right there, and wow, what a lick to the outside wall. And that car is just, well, Sam, it looks like it went through a minefield.
Well, I pointed it out, those tire barriers on the entry of turn one, just of the kink that's right on the entry, those tires can really rip apart any part of your car wherever you hit it. And for that of Tyler Conley, he's in pit road getting service done for himself. Tapley's going to be the driver that was heavily contact there for himself, but drivers getting ready to go green here and getting going. Got big props to iRacing themselves, though, Charles. They've now given more control to Race Control, allowing them to be able to push forward on these restarts, allowing these drivers to get back to green flag racing a lot sooner than they would previously, when it was just, default. You knew once caution came out, it was going to be 5 to 6 laps after that when you were going to go green once again. Now we're able to go green flag racing 3 to 4 laps. Anywhere between that zone, and it's so exciting to see these guys get more green flag racing attempts. And it's going to be that of Devin Landry, Burgoyne, Varney, Barth, as well as Rickard, going to be your top 5 get ready to go green here.
Yeah, and this is definitely good to have those shortened cautions when accidents like this happen and something gets changed. Keep in mind, we've seen this before. We don't fault the league for it. As the green flag comes out, when you had the update, stuff gets changed around, and you can't forget, yesterday we had a huge problem with iRacing, Venmo, a couple of other places, Amazon, because of those servers going down. So, anything can happen, but the battle for the lead is on right now between Burgoyne and Landry, and they are not giving it up without a fight.
No, they're not giving it up, and it's no surprise. These two have been the ones that have been battling the most. The last 2 races we've seen for the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by that of Douglas Heating and Air, it has been these two, but in the inside wall, you saw it there, the 7, and Ben Burgess, and more drivers piling in on the entry of turn 1. Oh no, they just keep on piling in. Another yellow flies here at Hickory. But it was initially, you saw the 7, Ben Burgess, stuck on the inside tire on the entry of pit road, and then just piled into more chaos in the entry of turn 1.
Yeah, so you can see the Pulse Poppers replay. You're about to see chaos right there. Hits the wall. Well, that doesn't actually cause it. There you see, you don't want to say that wall tap really caused the caution or didn't cause the caution, because he didn't directly impact it per se, but do you almost say that was an indirect cause of the caution? Because when you see a car hit the wall, your instinct is to check up and make sure you don't get into it, and by doing so, really just cause that chain reaction that we just saw with 5-10 cars just scattering all over the track like an ant bed getting stepped on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you get drivers with different instincts that just kick in. Those are some just, you can't teach some the reactionary things that drivers do. Like I said, when some drivers see an incident or a driver doing something odd, bouncing off the wall that could collect you, they let off the gas. Other drivers, when they see that, then their mindset is full send, try to get through that chaos as fast as possible and hope that something opens up that you can drive through. So having 2 different mindsets while an incident happens can bring up those types of wrecks where you got drivers that are wrecking, some that are slowing down, other drivers just piling into one another. And we saw, I think, a couple of more drivers than we should have seen get involved in that wreck. But we'll see how well they can do as we got 20 laps to go, Charles. Technically, we would already be done with LCQ, but we still got 20 laps to go, coming to 19 to go when we go green here. It's going to be that of Matthew Burgoyne, Landry, Varney, Barth, as well as we're starting to see a couple of others poking their heads. We got Rickard as well as Mooney in that row number 3. Green flag in the air, 19 laps to go, and we'll see Devin Landry and Burgoyne, 2 drivers that have been side by side. We've seen them side by side for a while, but they're already wrecking behind. Yellow flag immediately waving here on that of turn number 1. And it looks to be Tyler Jordan again involved in this one, and I believe that's the 48 it is, that of Brian Treadwell.
And, you know, as we watch this post-poppers instant replay, seeing the 29 of Tyler Jordan and some other drivers, you have to be wondering who's more frustrated right now, Sam. Is it these guys in the back that are just getting their cars put through the meat grinder, or is it the guys up front, as you just watched this one unfold, that really aren't getting a chance to race? If you're Burgoyne, Barth, Varney, Mooney, Rickard, these guys up here not getting that chance to try to get by Landry and get the win. You know, are they more upset right now, or is it the drivers towards the rear of the field that, like I said, are getting the cars, you know, getting destroyed?
I think if I'm looking at based off of, you know, best laps that have been put down, I would say for Dominic Carrick, I mean, that guy, gotta give, you know, Carrick's been a driver that has shown a lot of speed, and we look at the best laps that have been put down all day. The 5 that is back in 8th place has been the fastest driver on track currently, but since he's stuck in 8th and we've had so many quick cautions, the 5 hasn't been able to climb his way through this field, and already you can see there's a lot of damage on the rear right. So for the drivers that have been quick, some of them have actually been involved in some of these cautions, so for the guys up front, they just hope to at least have a 3 to 5 lap at least run to give them a chance to race things out at the end.
Yeah, and most of our cautions, you know, have been coming right off the start. So, yeah, we noticed earlier when we could get a couple of laps in and then kind of spread out a little bit, we have some green flag racing. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for these guys to just get to that point of, I don't want to say relaxation, but spread out a little bit to where they're not right on top of each other. And then the little battles can happen. You can bump and get a little loose, and it's okay. What we're seeing right now is these guys beating and banging a little bit before they can get in their, you know, 1 to 2 car battles, or 2 to 3 car battles. I guess you can't battle with one car. And then when they do, there's 6 or 7 around and they get tangled up together. So if we can get spread out, I think we'll be good for the rest of this race.
Oh, they're excited for more racing action as we are green, coming to 13 laps to go. It's Landry, Burgoyne, going to be your front 2. This is only the first main race of the night. There's still super late models after this, but we're going to quick yellow immediately in the back end. Oh, Charles, you know, up front for Burgoyne, he needed a couple of more laps if he wanted a chance for make a pass.
Yeah, and Tana, take a look here to see if we can figure out what triggered this caution. And we'll take a look, and the 48's a little back there, so I'm not sure. We'll take one more look here, and they'll see it. Ben Burgess in the 7. No, it was ahead of him.
There it is.
48. Or is that? No, sorry, that is the 11.
That's the 11.
You are correct on that one.
That's Conley. That's going to be that one.
Take one more look, and Sam, another one, just like we talked about before, the lights on the pace car are still off, and they are just getting the pace speed, and could this have been potentially just a self-spin?
I know from this camera angle we might get a decent shot, and looks like I think it was just a self-spin, and the 3 was right there. 3 of Graffam, but I don't think Graffam made any contact. As we've got 10 laps to go in tonight's race, drivers still waiting for the pace car lights to go off.
And we,
gosh,
we are listening in on race control throughout the night. And I'm not sure which driver it is. We will definitely find out here soon. It may be the 11 because that was the cause of the caution. They do have the 2 caution rule. You cause 2 cautions, you are done for the night. And they just confirmed. He said the rule book said 2 cautions and you are done. So if it is the 11 of Ed Conley, and he's not pulling into the pits yet, so I'm not sure who it is. I
saw Graffam come into the pit road in the 3.
And then there it is. He is not on the track. So,
yeah, Graffam has officially parked it, so he is done. There are a couple of other drivers still in pit road. That of Treadwell as well as Tyler Conley still in pit road getting service done for themselves as the laps continue to tick away. I think that's the one thing that's kind of getting demoralizing for some of these drivers further back. They're seeing their opportunities go away. And Charles, that just means the intensity levels are rising, and that means, you know, patience is gone. It is all about moving the drivers that are in front of you out of the way if you want to be making the moves forward. Unless, you know, you got respect for everyone that you're around and you trust that you can race clean. But coming to 7 laps to go. Landry, Burgoyne, they put on a great show. It's been side-by-side finishes every single time we've seen them on track here on LSRTV. We'll see if they can do another spectacular finish as they're coming out of turn number 2. Yellow waves again.
And I think you said the wrong word there, Sam. You said intensity. Did you mean frustration? Was that the word you were looking for? Because I think that level's rising as well with some of these drivers right now. And I don't know about race control, but it may be rising with them as well. As they've already had to park one driver. We'll see if any more have to. But right there, just beating and banging. There's actually incidents behind all this. So, again, finding exactly who's the cause really can't be determined because there's several.
Ooh, more contact going to be made with the 0-8 of Alan Grass and Ben Burgess making contact. Ben Burgess and others got spun around before they even got to the entry of turn 1. So, yeah, there are multiple incidences here. We might get into a point where we go green inside inside of our regulation laps of our 40-lap window and go into a green-white checkered situation, or we could go into an overtime attempt here for our featured race. Again, still more racing action. The super late models hit the track here at Hickory immediately after this race is done. And then we get heat racing, LCQ, and then a 50-lap featured race. So still, we're almost to the halfway point of tonight's racing action. Still cannot wait to see Devin Landry coming in, trying to become our points leader after tonight. As the previous points leader coming in tonight, that of Max Cookson, did not show, but Landry, who came in second, trying to make sure he is the points leader coming out of Hickory.
Yeah, he handed that one to him on a silver platter. He just needs to basically have a good finish. And, he, well, maybe even just finish at this rate if he doesn't show us he didn't show up. But he's got to finish first, so he's got very close. So we're 3 laps away, make it 2 as we take the green flag one more time. The question is, Sam, are we done with cautions here tonight?
I don't know. We're inside regulation. Green-white checker. 2 laps to go. If we get the white flag, we race it to the end. If we don't, we go into overtime. It's going to be that of Devin Landry, hoping to see the white flag out of turn number 4. Burgoyne's going to be pushed out of the way. White flag is being thrown. It's your CRN. 1 to go. They're wrecking behind. Up front, though, it's all that of Nathan Barth. Barth's got one more shot to get after that of Devin Landry. He couldn't get to the bumper. Out of the corner. Barth goes spinning, but it's Devin Landry getting the win here at Hickory for the late models for the BNS Scrap Recycling here at Hickory.
What a race indeed. There were some cautions, but there was some good racing. Hopefully we'll see a few less cautions in the super late models. I'm hoping with those super late models, Sam, they have a little bit more speed. Maybe you can make passes on the outside, the inside, where you want to go. And we'll see less because guys don't have to be as aggressive. Plus, there's 10 more laps. There's 50 laps in that one. But, time will tell.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting a word from our top 3, but we're going to take a look at our end results here for the late models for that of the Maine Sim Racing presented by Douglas Heat and Air for the BNS Scrap Recycling late model here at Hickory. Devin Landry getting the victory done for himself. Great battle between himself and that of Matthew Burgoyne. Nathan Barth able to survive, going to get second place, almost spinning around with Jason Rickard, going to be getting third, with fourth going to that of Chris Burgess. That of Dominic Carrick going to be getting fifth, with 6th going to Kyle Mooney. 7th going to be going to that of Matthew Murphy. Then is Chris Fortier, as well as Willie Holbrook, and that of Corey Bubar, excuse me. Going back to that of going for the final 20, it's going to be the 11 of Matthew Burgoyne, who fell all the way back. The 12th position going to go to Brandon Varney. 2 drivers that started up front, but because of that incident going into turn number 1, going to fall back with the 29 of Taylor Jordan, Chris York, that of 11 of Ed Conley, as well as Alan Grass, Ben Burgess, Scott Tapley, as well as that of Brian Treadwell, Trevor Graffam, and finishing out our 2 other drivers that raced here tonight. It's going to be Tyler Conley and Jacob Heathcroft that we're going to be finishing out our 22 drivers. Charles, what a race it was. And now we've looking like we might have a couple of our final 3 here that are waiting to be pulled up. What a race it was, though, for themselves.
It was a race indeed, and we still have one to go. So that one is getting ready to get underway here shortly, but they're waiting on us because they're nice people. They're waiting on us so we can interview people first. So, of course, we'll get to step away for a little short break as we get ready for that one and we talk to these top 3 drivers. So, looking forward to seeing what they have to say.
Yeah, we really are. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, our top 3 from the late models here tonight at Hickory, and then we get ready for the super late models later on here tonight. So we'll be back in just a few here on LSRTV. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Post-race show for the late models. What a race it was for the VNS Scrap Recycling at Hickory. We're going to be starting things off with third place finisher, that of Jason Rickard. And Jason, what a race it was for yourself. Started back in 6th place, but you kind of were seeing all the action up front. How was the race, though, for yourself?
Sure was exciting. Counting caution laps, we knew the urgency to get to the front was coming to a close pretty quick, so we're trying to be patient and not get into anybody, but yet be a little aggressive and try to take the holes when I could get to them.
Yeah, I mean, oh, that's right. Sorry, with a little bit of confusion from production. Jason, what a race, though. We saw the heat racing and then translate over to then the featured race. What was something, though, that you can try to take from this race, if you're racing in the super late models, over to that race?
I've had a good spotter, crew chief. Ryan Kuhn was helping me with my line and stuff, working on it in the late model, and I think that'll translate over into the super late model. These open setups, having somebody help you with the setups is a huge asset, and I know Nate's going to mention it, but RKM and Ryan being in the mics and in Discord with us has been helping out a lot and showing us, hopefully we get the cautions not counting we can have a little more patience in the super late model race than we did in the late model race.
And we're hoping for the same thing. Well, before we let you go, because we got more racing action to go for, the floor is yours for any shout-outs. Jason, do you have anyone you want to shout out for? Give thanks to?
Oh, yes. Sorry, wrong button. RKM Setup Shop, Studio 10, Bernier's Liquors, all them guys, Ryan Kuhn, all the guys in the booth, Discord, Devin, Nate, them guys helping me out with my line and stuff. I'm kind of the old man at this and still haven't mastered this whole iRacing thing, but we're getting better with every race.
That is certainly true. You had a fast car here tonight. That is going to be Jason Rickard finishing third in the late models, and good luck in the super late models later on.
Thanks, guys.
Now we're going to be moving over to second place in the 37, Nathan Barth. And Nathan, what a run for yourself. Winner of your heat, then coming over to the featured race, getting yourself a second place finish. But man, it looked like it was a handful from our point of view watching you race out there.
Yeah, I mean, it really had a pretty good setup behind it, and I really want to give a big thanks to Ryan for that. I mean, I was just giving it all I had. I know that Burgoyne and Devin and a few others in the field were a lot quicker than I was, but, you know, I just kind of drove it for all I had, and hey, it worked out. Hopefully we can have the same luck in Super.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you win that third heat race to start out the night. How much did getting that win help with your confidence level going into the featured race?
That was huge. I mean, as we saw in the race, we had a lot of yellows, unfortunately, but the track position really helped me out, and I think without that heat race win or good finish, I think I would have been further back in the field and probably would have stayed back there.
Well, before we let you go, Nathan, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I really want to give a huge shout-out to Matt from the Beach Ridge Barbershop, Route 1 in Scarborough. He's been a huge supporter of me for my iRacing and my real racing, so a huge shout-out to him. I want to give thanks to RKM Setup Shop Ryan Kuhn. Congratulations to Rickard on third and Devin on a win.
That's going to be Nathan Barth in the 37, getting a second place finish here tonight, and good luck in the super late models later on.
Thank you.
As now we head to Victory Lane. We were talking to this guy this Saturday. What a run at Five Flags. Well, he gets it done here in the late models at Hickory. It's Devin Landry in the 54. Devin, what a run for yourself. Didn't win your heat race, but came away with the victory here in the featured race.
Yeah, I really wanted to get that heat race win. I wanted to start on the pole, but I really didn't. It really didn't make a difference, I guess. I had to apologize, though, to Nate. I made a little bit of an aggressive move on like lap 3 that I really shouldn't have made, but it ended up working out for both of us. Had a really bad fast car. Got to thank Matt for doing all that testing with me, and we got this thing figured out. And the supers should be just as stout.
Yeah, I mean, Devin, we even were noting on it up in the booth for the drivers further back. All the cautions must have been just making it frustrating for them. But as a driver that was running first and second for most of the night, how was it seeing that the caution laps were counting and you were seeing those laps tick away?
Honestly, I wanted to see it go green because I really think Matt and I could have pulled away for quite a bit. I know Matt made a change and he got really tight, but I left my car alone after the heat race and actually tightened it up a little bit, and it ended up working out really well. If I left that thing alone, it would have been terrible.
Well, Devin, you said you're going to be racing later on tonight in the Supers. We're excited for it, but before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Matt. My parents, that's about it, honestly.
Well, Devin, we'll let you get over to practice, get ready for more racing action. It's Devin Landry in the 54, Victory Lane. Congratulations and good luck in the super late models.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we get ourselves prepared. It's super late model racing here at Hickory. We're excited for it for the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by Ductless Heating and Air. It's time for the B&S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models here at Hickory in just a few.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Maine Sim Racing Series, presented by that of Ductless Heating and Air for the B&S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models Racing action. We just got finished with late model racing action where Devin Landry got the victory. Well, here we are now prepared for super late models. They're bigger, they're faster, and they're ready to tackle one of the newest short tracks to iRacing, and we're excited to cover it. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Charles Wooten. And Charles, we got to see heat racing and also LCQ and a featured race for late models. It's time to get it done now for the super late models.
Yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be a shorter race, too. A little bit shorter drivers, only 17 is what we just heard from Race Control, plus we were counting it, but that's probably going to be, what, you think, 2 heat races, 10 and 7, depending on how they break them up. So,
yeah, well, we should a clarification once, the heat racing starts on the amount of heat races we're going to see, but I'm excited to see because we got a good clarification on how the drivers are going to attack the heat races to then the featured race. We saw a lot of cautions in the heat race, and we saw that kind of translate over. So this is going to be a good picture of how many drivers are going to make mistakes and who can survive early on.
Yeah, definitely 30 seconds left in the practice session here. And we are in communication with Race Control. I really like it. Not to brag on ourselves too much here, Sam, but, we're one of the best. And being part of that, we try to always expand and grow and change things. And one of those big changes we did really isn't even noticeable to the fans out there, but what it does for us as the producer and the announcers is we can actively listen to Race Control so we know what's going on during the race, which is for me it's helpful, and I imagine it's pretty helpful for you to actually have that radio chatter going on, knowing who the caution was on if we can't find it, or who the black flag was on, or if drivers are fighting. Whatever we need to know, it's right there readily available now.
Yeah, it's always right there, and it's so nice to have that information just pop up and given to you. So instead of us questioning for 5 to 10 minutes of what a situation was going on, we get instant feedback of what's happening. And that's why we love all the new things that are coming to LSR TV, allowing us to be the best. We're the only iRacing broadcast that's in 4K, and we love to say that and promote that, and it is exciting to show. And for us, more racing action to promote, as cannot wait for 2022. There's more things to be shown. And up front for heat number 1, official 2 heat races for these drivers, then an LCQ, then we get to our 50-lap featured race. And on the top row from your Team 126 Racing grid, it's going to be Devin Landry, who just got the victory done in our late models. We'll see if he can win here in heat number 1 to get that pole position, with that of Tyler Conley to his outside. Then we got that of Brian Tridwell, as well as Kyle Mooney, 2 very quick drivers we've seen that can try to put down some fast laps. Row number 3, we're going to be finding ourselves with the drivers. I believe we're going to be seeing Sean, who's our race control driver, so the drivers that are on the inside going to be able to move forward. with that of Matthew Murphy to the outside of row 3. Row 4 going to be that of Chris Fortier. Fortier is going to be in the 23. Had some very poor luck in the late models. We'll see if we can translate that over and do better here in the super late models with that of Matthew Burgoyne, excuse me, to his outside in row number 4. In our last row here for heat number 1, it's going to be Tyler Jordan and Dominic Carrick going to be all the way back in that last place position. I've got some 3-4 heavy hitters in this first heat. We're excited to see how they're going to race here and where they get placed at the start of their featured race.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, and we are getting the word that we are going to skip the consolation race here that be made last chance qualifier, again, whatever you prefer to call it. So they are racing for starting position, and already people are going to start taking each other out.
Already taken out and thrown out. It's going to be our first yellow. Only 12 laps for these heat races. We only got 2 of them before we get to our featured race. As we were just notified, no LCQ for these drivers. We're going to have 8 drivers that are going to be on course as we take our first Pulse Poppers instant replay in these super late models heat number 1. And, Charles, already, I think some of these drivers might be feeling a little antsy as Treadwell did not even turn going into turn number 1, and it was Mooney who got the worst of it at the end.
Yeah, take one more look at this, and I'm not sure. It looked like he checked for the 54. That's what I want to see here. If he was checking up to avoid the 54, or if this was just straight, he turned up into the 90 trying to get around the 54, and we'll see right coming into the next corner. Yeah, I don't know.
He just went straight. I mean, that almost looked like something happened here with possibly, on his side, equipment failure. Possibly could have had a screen go black. We're not confirmed on what happened, but that was just a very odd movement from that of Brian Treadwell, and we'll see how the 48 wants to move forward after this. But Kyle Mooney, he is already in pit road getting that damage repair. Might go multiple laps down as drivers are rolling around and looking at the laps. They are not counting for our heat races, so drivers got to be concerned about time for this heat race now.
Yeah, and this one, same as last one, the caution laps are not counting for the heats. And probably not the main, which we're not going to have anyway, but for the feature, they are counting. So, you really, really want to get a good start here, or a good finishing position in your heat, because where you finish here is where you're starting. Without caution laps, with them counting, it's going to take away laps if there's a lot of caution. So you want to stay up front, get up front and stay up front.
Well, it's good to see Chris Fortier, who's going to be in second currently. That 23 machine, he has been struggling in the late models, and the super late models seems to feel a little bit more comfortable and currently in second, but he's got to be careful because he's got Tyler Jordan, that of Dominic Carrick, as well as Burgoyne. Those 3 drivers have been on top of one another, and they're willing to fight and claw for everything, as well as the 31 of Tyler Conley. These 4 drivers, they are the meat of this heat race, and they just need to figure out where to place one another, because we're seeing Devin Landry just pull away and be a rocket ship currently.
Yeah, you got to race the track, but you got to race your competitors, and that's right now. You have some very, very fierce competitors in this heat race, very stacked heat race with, again, like Conley, Burgoyne, Landry, like you were talking about in here. So you really, really have to be on your A game when you're in a heat race that's as stacked as this one is. And that track temp, by the way, 113 degrees. It is right back where it started for the last heat race. It'll probably cool down, but Sim, is it just my imagination, or does it look a little shadier, like we got some clouds rolling in here for this heat race?
Yeah, it is starting to cloud over, as well as we're starting to see some drivers. Maybe their cars were not prepared for the cooler temps, as the 5 getting Dominic. Got to be careful not to get that rear end scuffed up into the outside wall. But for the more shade that comes in, the cooler track's going to be given a little bit more grip. And for some drivers, they set themselves up for there to be, not a lot of grip for the early goings, and then to find some speed later on in this race, as we've got 3 laps to go. we're seeing these drivers, the sun's starting to creep up a little bit more, and that's going to be the fun factor throughout this whole entire night, is how is the track going to evolve when the shade comes in, goes away throughout the night. 2 laps to go, coming to the white flag, and it is going to be the 54 of Devin Landry getting our CRN. 1 to go in heat race number 1 of 2.
Yeah, 1 of 2 is all we're going to have, so a shorter field, which, by the way, should lead to less cautions. Again, should. We'll have to wait and see. I know Race Control was avid telling them, okay, guys, we have less cars. Let's try to have a clean race. So we'll just have to wait and see if, if that sunk into these drivers as heat race number 1 is done. And there are your results for it. So again, everybody's advancing, though.
Yeah, everyone's going to be moving on. Devin Landry, Chris Fortier, as well as Dominic Carrot, as well as Matthew Burgoyne, Tyler Conley, Tyler Jordan, that of Brian Treadwell, Kyle Moody, and also Race Control and Matthew Murphy. Murphy, I do not believe, even started this race. He missed the grid, so we'll see if he's even eligible to move on to the featured race. But drivers are prepared. Our second and last heat race of the night. They're getting stacked up. It's going to be that of Jason Rickard as well as Brian Conover. Going to be your first row number 1 for your starting grid, sponsored by Team 126 Racing. Nathan Barth's going to be starting out row number 2 with that of Corey Bubar, going to be in that 12 machine. Row number 3 going to be Ashton Burgess as well as Chris York in the 84. And finishing out our last couple of rows is going to be Jacob Heathcote as well as Ed Conley. And the last car going to be making it, it's going to be that of Willie Holbrook, who's going to be on the 89. 9 drivers have made the grid. 9 drivers in this last heat. We'll see where they lie. This is to see where the driver is going to be stacked up for second place on the starting row. And right now, I mean, you want to be up front. We've already seen that from the late models. You do not want to be starting further back. You can get caught up in trouble really early on. So these drivers recognizing it is important to have a good launch. 12 laps. Caution laps don't count under this heat race, but we'll see how well they can try to play nice with one another. Green flag in the air, and it's going to be Rickards and also Conover going to be the front going, and there's already contact as it's already spinning around. Big mess, and it's the 37 and others getting caught up in this one.
Yeah, right out of the gate, caution coming out. This isn't what the drivers wanted to see. It's not what Race Control wanted to see, but, these guys are battling, 4 wins. And points for a championship, so everybody's going to give everything they have, and sometimes maybe a little more than they have, as we'll see right there. This one I think was just a product of some tire spin.
Yeah, that's the big thing. We talked about wheel spin in the late models, the super late models. More horsepower, meaning more power, and more wheel spin can be seen on these starts, and the 97 of Conover going to be the main culprit of this wheel spin at the start. And when you've got drivers that are hoping to get good launches for themselves, they can collect other drivers. Chris York in pit road for the 86, and already we're seeing it. Lap 1 once again and bringing out a quick yellow, but we'll see if this go around, if drivers can stay clean like we saw for heat number 1.
Yeah, they did it for heat number 1. I think we can do it for heat number 2 as well. Again, time will tell just how clean the racing is. Again, it's fewer cars, only 17 I believe is what we had, and of course one of those was Race Control, and one didn't start earlier in heat 1, so green flag is out. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays down, but still 12 laps to go, notably as we have a few more laps.
Oh no, more drivers getting spun around, and it's everyone practically from row 2 on back getting collected in this. Ashton Burgess, Corey Bubar, those two coming into tonight's race for the super late models are top 2 in points. Corey Bubar, our points leader coming into tonight, and also Ashton Burgess going to be second in points. As we'll see on this restart, you're going to see on the inside the X machine. Also, that is, gosh, they just come into turn number 1. Charles, it's the aggression level coming in a little bit sooner than I thought we were going to see in these super late models.
Yeah, it definitely is coming in a little sooner than I thought as well. And I unfortunately as even though this channel is marked 18+, I cannot repeat what I heard over radio chatter, but there are some upset people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are going to be drivers and people going to be upset about this one, because this is all about setting yourself up for the grid of where you're going to be placed for our featured race. There's not going to be an LCQ for these drivers, meaning that they're going to have to hope that they finish up front to have the best starting position. Is their driver is going to be placed, in second, fourth, and ongoing, and they've got to make sure that they have a good launch here for themselves, as that Hickory Bubar is going to be going and falling back for himself in the 12. Yes, this isn't probably the way that they wanted some of these drivers to attack heat number 2, but hey, we're starting to see it's kind of similar to the way that we saw for the late models. Aggression was early going in those heat races. We might see a similar thing hit for the featured race as pace car is off. We are green here for the B&S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models at Hickory. And up front, it's Rickard, Barth, and Ed Conley going to be your front 3 as they come out roaring into turn number 3. Everyone else trying to play nice as they are a quick yellow going to be thrown, wrecking on the back stretch. And it's Ashton Burgess going to be in that X machine, otherwise known as the 34.
And we'll see what happened here as Pulse Poppers getting their money's worth here tonight. And we'll see exactly what happened. He had a little bit of a late start. He was sitting back a little bit. We'll see exactly what happened to him. And, whoa!
Oh boy. Well, that's a ride you don't want to have here.
Yeah, that is definitely a ride you don't want to have. I want to go back and look at that. Hey, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of real racing stuff will dock you for this. They will actually black flag you for sitting back like this to try to get a run. And he gets to the green, and then he gets to the run, and there's a little contact there. We'll see what happened beyond there. One angle it looked like he just turned into him. That angle it looks like he was just trying to go and get around one car and got into another one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing when you're short track racing, especially at a track like Hickory, 0.36 mile of a course. So it is very short. You're on the throttle for just a quick second, then you're back off onto the brakes, and you get back quickly on. It is a very much of a rhythm course, making sure you're hitting your marks. And if you're trying to make a pass go 3 wide, your reaction has to be so perfect and precise. Any little slip up can cause an incident like that, especially when you're trying to go 3 wide. Ashton Burgess just lucky to be on all 4 and still running after that flip. And, we're going to be going to single file restarts. Admins have thrown it to that, so we're going to see how well these drivers can attack on single file restarts, but they're already a little bit of accordion effect on top of one another. But Rickards and Barth got to be trying to pull away, as on the high side, dropping back is Conover.
Yeah, you say he's lucky to be on all 4. I say he's lucky to still have his dinner with him after that wild ride. As we got one going around, and that is the 57 as the caution comes out once again. 97. It looked like a 5. It was a little scratched up. So we'll take a look at a Pulse Poppers instant replay. And yeah, it looked like a 57 on one side, 97 on the other. As it doesn't look as scratched up there as it's about to here in just a minute, Sam.
Ashton Burgess giving a little bit of a door bang there. That's where the scrub came from. And, for these drivers, 89. Willie in the 89 did a great job on those brakes and the binders, making sure he didn't run over Conover. But, yeah, I mean, for a lot of these drivers here tonight, it is going to be a lot of pushing and shoving. It's Robbins racing. And short track racing, it is all about the bump and run, putting yourself in positions to try to make the pass move forward. And you can be patient for a little bit, but at some point, if you feel like you're faster than the driver ahead of you, you got to make some bold moves. And sometimes it's taking out your competitors, but that can penalize you at the end of the day if you're not careful. Yeah,
it really is. As listening in on Racing Trolls, see if the important that we need to know. And yeah, this is one of them races, Sam, where I like to call it a money saver. And you're thinking all the wrecking, it wouldn't be a money saver, but I mentioned it in the first one. there's going to be some people that do not get that Christmas card or that Christmas gift, so you might have a little money to buy some of your own iRacing stuff after this one.
Well, we'll see on this restart on, you might send a gift, but it might not be a present that they want. It might just be some coal that you're sending their way, as it's going to be Jason Rickards and Nathan Barth going to be your front two trying to pull away from one another, and then it's the battle for third that's starting to heat up. But the battle for the lead, coming to 7 laps to go. Time could start to become a factor. We get another caution for these drivers because each lap about 14 seconds, almost 14 and a half seconds. These drivers running about half a second, almost a full second faster than what they were running in the late models. So if they keep on rolling at this pace that they're going, they could finish out this race. But if they get another quick caution, this race could finish under yellow.
Yeah, we're sitting at 1:30 on the clock with 6 laps to go. So they've got to, yeah, like you said, a caution. And this race is going to the timer versus the lap. So, you know, race control did say no more cautions. They cannot have any more. So that's what these guys are definitely trying to do. They don't want it to end under time either. We got one slow, but no cautions going to come out for the 89. Well, that is good news there.
Yeah, and for the 89, he's been off the pace for a while, but the laps continue to tick away as it's now going to be 3 laps to go. It's going to be Jason Rickards as well as Nathan Barth going to be your front two. Ed Conley going to be trying to hold off for third, but a quick yellow comes out, and that should be snuffing this out, and it's going to be Brian Conover in the 97 once again spun around, and this yellow could be putting this heat race on ice. This could be where the running order will stay as we take a Pulse Poppers instant look at what happened. And Brian's all by himself right now. No one near him. So this could be a self-spin coming into turn number 1. And it was just too much speed. Overcorrects. And the race will end under yellow for heat number 2.
Yeah, well, indeed. 20 seconds left on the clock is all that remains. And this one will go to the timer. So who wins this race? We would like to say it's Jason Rickard, but I'm going to say it's the time clock.
Yeah, I mean, the timer, always watching over. Time is something we try to control, but sometimes we just have zero control on it.
Yep, there you see it right there, final lap. As time has expired, so you get that infamous white and checkered, or white and yellow at the same time. So it's unfortunate, but hey, sometimes that is just how it happens.
Yeah, Rickard, then a Barth, Conley, and then that of Heathcott's going to be that in 4th. Boobar's going to be in 5th. Willie Holbart's going to be in 6th, with that a Conover. Ashton Burgess going to be in 8th, with Chris York in 9th. As see the finish on our grid. Drivers coming across, and heat number 2 finishing under yellow. And Charles, I got to say, I think for both of us, we do not want this featured race that's coming up here shortly to do the same exact thing. Drivers are given a 3-minute warm-up time, so that gives us a moment to give a big thanks to all of our amazing sponsors. Starting things off with our Hickory sponsor, that at B&S Scrap Recycling. Thank you so much for them, as well as BCC, that at Bruce Caltier Carpentry. Also going to be giving a huge thanks to that at Beach Ridge Barbershop, Crescent Lumber, J&K Fuel, that at Ductless Heating and Air, main sponsor for that of the Maine Sim Racing Series, and as well our final 2, that at Tier Free, that at 4 Tier Graphics and Wiscasset Speedway. Thank you to all of the amazing sponsors, and for us, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, 50 laps here at Hickory for the super late models. Can't wait for it. We hope that you're ready as well. We'll be right back in just a few.
automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all...
Oh, so sorry, Tom Denchel, but we got to get ourselves to racing action as it is time. Drivers' warm-ups has come to a close. Big thanks again to all of our amazing sponsors that we've touched on all throughout the night. But it is time for our Maine Sim Racing Series presented by Douglas Heating and Cooling for the B and S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models here at Hickory. For them to get their racing action started, our late models Victor already earlier tonight. Devin Landry going to get the pole position with Jason Rickards to his outside for row number 1. Big thanks to that of Team 126 Racing for being our starting grid sponsor, with that of Chris Fortier going to be the start of row number 2, with Nathan Barth going to be on the outside. Dominic Kirk's going to be on the inside of row number 3 with Ed Conley in the 11 to his outside. Row number 4, we got more racing action for you. It's that of Matthew Burgoyne, who's going to have a lot of work for himself to move forward, with Jacob Heathcock's going to be to his outside in the 32. Row 5, we find ourselves with that of Tyler Conley, as well as Corey Bubar. Bubar coming in as our points leader. He's got a lot of work going to be outside of row number 5. Row 6, we find that of Tyler Jordan, as well as Willie Holbrook. We'll see if Holbrook can get a better launch for himself as well, since he didn't have luck for the late models. That of Brian Tridwell, we saw his start for the heat races. We're hoping that gets changed. Same for that of Brian Comover, who both had struggled in their heat races. They hope for different results here. It's going to be Kyle Mooney, going to be starting up row number 8 with Ashton Burgess, one of the fastest rows for the drivers that are all the way in the back. Row number 9, we're going to be finding ourselves with that of our race control, that of Sean Kimball, as well as Chris York in the 86. Finishing out our final row, that is going to be Matthew Murphy in the 17. We got ourselves with 18 drivers ready to attack Hickory for the B and S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models at Hickory. Big thanks to all the amazing sponsors here at the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by Douglas Heating and Air. Pace car is off. Green flag's in the air. It's Devin Landry. Rickard, who's going to get the better launch? It's going to be the inside row. Landry getting a great launch with a 23 right on his back bumper at a 2. Top 3 single file, but it's side by side for 4th as they go into 3.
Yeah, Sam, definitely looking for a little bit cleaner racing coming out of this feature race. I know the guys are looking for it as well, and something tells me we ain't gonna have it.
Oh, Rickard somehow gets evaded by everyone. That 9 should have been destroyed. Jason, I don't know what. He's got a horseshoe somewhere, maybe a lucky rabbit's foot, something, because this 9 somehow does not get more destroyed. He should have been gonzo coming out of turn number 2. We're going to be seeing these drivers side-by-side racing. It's got to be a little bit of contact from the 5 of Dominic Carrick, and then somehow the C's part. The 9 survives.
You know, I have to say, seeing how well they parted the C's around him does give me a little bit of hope that we might see some green flag racing coming forth. Excuse me. Because, you know, if you can avoid someone like that, you can avoid someone doing green as well.
Yeah, you're hoping that it can translate like that, but like we've seen a lot on the late models and also through that of the super late models heat races, the issue isn't really coming out of the corner as much as it is on the entry of the corner. That seems to be the big problem for these drivers of just running over one another. They are coming in super aggressive, and I think that's just because drivers trying to get underneath one another, and because they come with so much speed, such shallow entry, they're not giving each other enough room to really slow down to try to make the pass cleanly. They're just door banging or taking out the drivers through outside, and that is going to be really a recipe for a lot of cautions. And we're going to get concerned because caution laps counting, this race could be ending quicker than they wanted it to be.
Yeah, it definitely could be ending a little bit sooner. Again, the caution laps are counting. Is just an issue. Sometimes it happens. Like I said, we've seen it, and it's at no fault of anyone. Sometimes server issues happen. But the green flag is back out, and we are racing one more time on lap number 7 of 50. 10 more laps than the last race, as we've talked about. And Landry out here looking to get the win. Fortier just behind him in that 23 machine. Like you said, he's looking for a good finish tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Fortier on the start of these races has been very strong, but once he starts to fall back, that's when issues start to come, and there's already a spin. It's going to be that of Ed Conley. He's going to be the driver spun around. Yellow waves, and the 11 on the backstretch. Again, what probably should have been more damage given to a driver minimizes, and now going to be getting rolling for himself as we take a Pulse Poppers instant replay at what happened to Ed Conley here. Did he get help, or was it all by himself?
That's what we're about to find out. Is seeing, and no, it looked like he's by himself. Well, he hurt the cone in the process.
Yeah, the cone retaliated, got him a little bit too much throttle after hitting the cone and overcorrected into the inside wall, but luckily no one else, again, evading the car that's spinning. Big hands, big claps to the crowd and also to the fans and the drivers. What a move by all of them, being able to evade all the carnage so far in our first couple of quick cautions for our featured race here at Hickory. And Charles, we're seeing these drivers getting a little bit of taste of Hickory, one of the newest short tracks added to iRacing here in the last couple of months. But, this is still a new track for a lot of these drivers. Even though it's an open setup race, they're going to need all of this information this week, because we're coming right back to Hickory next Wednesday night for week number 3 of the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by Ductless Heating and Air.
Yeah, definitely. And we had John stop by for a minute. And you ever have that employee, I'm sure if you own a business, you ever that employee that doesn't show up? I can't be mad at John because, well, unfortunately, I'm the boss of that employee, and I forgot to relay the information. This race got rescheduled properly, and Sam, we've been working on a few different types of schedules we wanted to use, and it just got lost in transition. So, I will take the blame for that one for John.
John, sometimes in our minds we think that we know that we've told someone information, then we realize, no, we never told them that information. Then it just, we have to only blame ourselves on that. As green flag's out in the air, we cannot wait to have John back in the booth next week. It is going to be a blast back here at Hickory, so he's getting a taste of it at home watching the broadcast. But I got to say, up front, no surprise. We're right back to kind of where we were at with the late models here, Charles. It's Devin Landry and Matthew Burgoyne going to be your front two, with Dominic Carrick's going to be in that of third place. This 5 machine, we'll see how much of a threat he's going to be. But right now, we're seeing him wreck through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and right as you say that, we have at least a 3-car pileup in the back again. The action was getting good up front. And the action in the back, well, maybe not so much, but we'll see what happened here one more time on the Pulse Poppers instant replay. Again, even in Texas, it may be a little cold to go fly fishing, but hey, try it out as the 33 goes around, and the 22 really just nowhere to go, and then in comes the 48 as well.
Yeah, the 32, Jacob Heathcott's going to be the first initial driver, and then you've got the 22, Tyler Jordan, coming in. I love Tyler Jordan's scheme, by the way. That's the 22. Yes, it's a white base, but I love how colorful it is. all around. It is so easy to pick and be like, oh, there's where Tyler is. But at the same time, when he's caught up in an incident, you hope that he wouldn't be involved, as 22's got a lot of work for himself, and also the 48 of that of Brian Treadwell is going to be all the way back in 12th position. A lot of work for the 48 machine, who did not have the heat race that he wanted to have, early contact during heat number 1, and now going to be having to work his way to hope to get a top 10 finish currently. But we have a lot of big losers in positions-wise. We saw the 9 of Jason Rickard falling back 11 positions. We saw Ed Conley losing a lot of positions. We now just saw the 32 lose a 10 positions for himself. Biggest mover of the night going to be that of Matthew Murphy, up 10 positions from where he started. We'll see what 17 can do as he's cracked the top 10. But up front, it's Landry, it's Burgoyne, side by side going into turn number 1. It's the B&S Scrap Recycling Super Late Models here at Hickory, and we are already back to yellow flag racing.
And they just stacked them up in the back. You know, at some point, Sam, and I don't want to be the one to call these guys intentional wreckers, but at some point, when does, okay, you bumped me, you wrecked me, we're involved in a wreck, turn into a little bit of payback at some point?
I think it's more so of just trying to still find a rhythm for a lot of these drivers. I mean, I just noted on 3 drivers that that had lost a lot of positions, that were involved in other wrecks, that were trying to just get back to where they were before they were taken out. And that aggression can cause you to make some kind of driving over your head moves of taking out other drivers when you think maybe I'll just give them a little bit of a bump, and it turns into you just spinning them out. That over aggression can really translate to us having yellows, and with the fact that these yellow laps are counting when they come around, it's just making the racing more and more intense. And we even heard it through the interviews, and drivers hoping that the yellow flags would not count so the drivers could get a little bit more relaxed. Well, that intensity, that anger and frustration from the late model race might have translated over to that of the late model race here this evening.
Yeah, and you know, while we see all these incidents going on, you know, not the best way you want to see a race. And speaking of not the best, we're corresponding with our co-workers here, John, and I do believe he's had a few too many of the adult beverages, and the reason I say that is because he said sorry, missed it. It was my fault though, not his. But he said I sounded like a pro, so I think he's had a few too many of them drinks, because there ain't no way I sound like a pro on a headset.
You know, you always say you don't, but you have small things that you give us that feel like you are a pro at times. That's green flag back in the air as we are getting closer and closer to halfway. We just need to conclude one more lap, and you already see drivers slipping and sliding on the entry of the corner. It is slick. The sun is out. And Burgoyne losing already a position. Jordan losing spots as coming across the line. We are now halfway through the B and S scrap recycling race here. And gotta say, Charles, up front, the battle for second, the best battle currently. As a little bit of door banging there, the 5 into the 38 coming across the line. Dominic making the aggressive move, trying to get Burgoyne moving backwards as the 38 stays on the outside.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at on this track right now, front, middle, rear, it just doesn't matter. These guys are just, you know, beating and banging, as the words on the side of a car from the podcast today, aggressive.
Oh, no.
And that's going to bring out another caution, as aggressive as around.
And Burgoyne is going to call it a night. He is done. Frustration mounting over the 38, was getting door bangs shoved all over the place, and we'll see here on the replay. And immediately Burgoyne just calling it a night after being taken out here. And we'll see coming out of the exit of the corner, gets hit, spun around, and then you see Jordan also joining in with the spin, and then immediately takes the toe to pit road and just leaves in frustration. Another driver that is out of the race, that of Corey Bubar, who was our points leader coming into the race. Really looking at the drivers and where they lie, we could be seeing a massive shuffle on where drivers points-wise after tonight's race, because some of our favorites that were up front, they are not having the day that they were hoping to have.
No, they are not having the day they wanted at all. It is unfortunate, but we're looking at 20 to go, and probably 18 to go when we take the green, which means, well, we're past the halfway point. As you mentioned a second ago, laps are winding down very, very quickly. We have 23 minutes left on the clock, so I don't see time being too big of an issue. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. You know, it really just depends on how many more cautions we have. But again, I think 23 minutes is more than enough to run 18 laps.
Yeah, they should be able to. That's what we're hoping for. But we'll see if they can play nice or if we're going to be seeing more wrecks translating here. Pace car lights are off. Devin Landry, that of Dominic Kirk, going to be your front two. Nathan Barth, Chris Fortier, as well as Matthew Murphy, going to be your top five, with Ashton Burgess going to be in that sixth position. Green flag out in the air, 18 laps to go. Devin Landry on the inside, showing that the inside is where you want to be. But if the five's got a shot, he's got to get a good run on the outside. Charles, I know you haven't been in the booth commentating, but you've seen it. The outside row has been where we've seen a lot of passes made late in the race. But here at Hickory, it looks like the inside lane's where you want to be as Ashton Burgess spins around on the exit of turn 2.
And we'll get back until we can find him. The caution is out. And there he is. So we'll take a look. And I'm thinking some other people were involved in this too, and they were. As it looks like the 90 of Mooney was involved, and possibly Matthew Murphy involved in this one as well. So multiple cars involved. Take a look at a Pulse Popper's instant replay, and there's the initial one, like you mentioned, with Ashton Burgess. So we'll take another look and see what it actually really caused all this, Sam.
We're seeing it here, and it's the battling going on. You've got the 31 of Tyler Conley and also that of Ashton Burgess. They're going to be right on top of one another, and we've seen that of Tyler Conley being aggressive, a little bit of door banging right there coming out of turn number 4, and then a very shallow entry for the 31, which causes it. Actually, I take that back. I believe that's actually the 11. I take that back, Conley. But very aggressive racing of these drivers that are right on top of one another, and just a little bit of door banging into one another, which is causing these massive wrecks, which are taking people out. And now even more drivers have been put to the DNF officially, as Brian that of Treadwell has officially parked it, as well as Matthew Murphy going to be calling it a night for themselves. So a lot of these drivers, I take it back. Actually, the driver that made the initial contact couldn't read the number. It was the 17 of Matthew Murphy that initiated the contact with Ashton Burgess. And the shallow entry into the corners, that if you come in very low, the center of the corner means you're going to pop your car up if you're going too fast. And that means you can run into that car that's on the outside for these drivers. And those wrecks, they can cause more and more yellows. But we're back to green flag racing. Devin Landry, Barth, Carrick, Fortier, as well as Tyler Conley going to be your top 5 as we are running green, and it's the 54 leading the way.
Yeah, green is out like you mentioned, and we'll see how, again, the herd is really thinned out. We're just missing 4 drivers, so that may cut down on the cautions, and I say may very slightly throw down, but on the cautions, they're really spread out now, too. You have to go a little further back. Really, before you start seeing any of these guys. It's right in here in this area, around mid-pack, around 5th to about 11th is where you're seeing most of the drivers stacked up. Although, that's where we've seen some of these cautions, Sam, so maybe we're not out of the woods yet.
I wouldn't say we're out of the woods yet, as we've been looking at right now this group. This is the battle that is going on for 7th place. Ashton Burgess, as well as Ed Conley, and also, you've got that of Tyler Jordan. And when we've been watching these Maine Sim Racing Series drivers throughout the Saturday series, we've been seeing the drivers being very aggressive, and it's been that of Ashton Burgess as well as Tyler Jordan, of those two that have been showing a lot of aggression when they're racing. They're willing to make some very deep and hard moves, maybe bumping someone out of the way. Would not be surprised if they decided to do that, but here comes aggression that we haven't seen a lot from the 23. That of Fortier going to be a driver that's really battling, trying to get by the 5 of Dominic Kirk. And I gotta say, this is good to see the 23, who's been struggling when we've watched these guys, putting on a great show for himself, trying to get a top 3 finish.
Yeah, and by the way, while we're watching this, we won't jump to him, but Ed Conley is out of this race. He just went from about 7th or 8th, really, to now 13th as he is in pit road. It looks like his night is done here with 5 laps to go, so unfortunate for him as well. So it's just one of those deals, out of this race a little earlier than he wanted to be, but no surprise. Are we really shocked at all? We're seeing the 54 Landry out front leading this race with now 4 laps to go.
4 now down to 3 laps to go. Devin Landry trying to sweep tonight at Hickory. It's been the 54 all night long. Once he got his win for heat number 1, he never thought about looking back. At every restart, he's been on the inside, pulling away. 2 laps to go, and coming to our CRN 1 to go, Charles. It is Devin Landry who's doing all the work. CRN 1 to go as we go into turn 1.
And it looks like, yes, we officially get the white flag. You never know 100% until that does switch over for us, but we got it. Nothing will end this race but the checkered flag, and there it is right there. Is no surprise. Landry picking up the win here tonight in F54.
Getting the win at Hickory, sweeping the late models and the super late models. We also get to talk to that Nathan Barth again from the 37, get his point of view of the switch up from the late models to the super late models, and we also get to see a new face up in the booth here at when we talk to our top 3. But Devin Landry, he's figured out this course, and guess what? We get to come back here to Hickory next week, and then, you know, after that we go to Stafford, and then we're right back here to Hickory. Hickory, one of the favorite courses of the season, so Devin Landry's got to be loving this early gold here as they keep on burning down. We'll take a look here at our final results. It's going to be that of Devin Landry going to be in that first place position. Nathan Barth's going to be getting second. Dominic Kirk's going to be getting that of third, with that of Chris Fortier going to be getting fourth. Fifth going to that of Tyler Conley. Then it's Brian Conover, Ashton Burgess, Tyler Jordan, that of Jason Rickards, and Chris York going to be your top 10. Going to our top 20, we find that of Willie Holbrook, as well as Kyle Mooney, Jacob Hurthkoth as well as Ed Conley, Matthew Burgoyne, with that of Corey Bubar, that of Brian Chedwell, as well as our race control, Sean Kimball, is going to be finishing out our 19 drivers here. 18 hit the course, and just, we lost a few there, Charles, but we're excited to go talk to our top 3, get their points of view. But first, we got to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. We'll take a look and talk more about this race at the final, as we got to see 2 fantastic races. We'll get a word from our top 3 here in just a few on LSRTV.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
Alrighty, well, we are back for the post-race show for the Maine Sim Racing Series presented by Ductless Heat and Air. And also big thanks to our sponsor, B&S that's Scrap Recycling, for sponsoring us here at Hickory. Well, we got to talk to these guys earlier in the late model race. Well, let's get a little bit more knowledge from them. We're going to start things off with second place runner out of Nathan Barth. And Nathan, I got to say, what a run for yourself here tonight. Gonna be getting a second place finish, but you certainly shown a couple of moments where you almost were gonna go after Devin Landry there.
Yeah, you know, I don't think I quite had enough for Devin in the long run, but I figured if I could fire off, you know, as good as him, I might have had a chance, but just couldn't get that opportunity. And, you know, I'm not really one to move guys. That's really not my MO, so I wasn't really down for that. But, you know, we gave it all we had, so it was a good run overall.
Yeah, I know that originally it's, you know, for the featured races, that caution laps aren't supposed to count. But for yourself here tonight, for the late models and for the super late models, they did. How much did that change your mindset coming in at the start of the race?
Hey, it's Wesley Outwood on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV.
We got going, I realized that I could just, you know, be more aggressive and not have to save as much as I originally intended to. So, you know, we had a good day, and we had some good guys behind us with Ryan Kuhn, our cam setup shop, Beechridge Barber Shop. You know, had Jason Rickard there with us helping us out. So big thanks to all them, and good job to Devin.
Well, this is a good baseline to start off because we're going to be at Hickory a lot this season. We're excited to see it. But Nathan, congratulations on great finishes in the late models and in the super late models. And now the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, once again, just RKM Setup Shop, Ryan Kuhn. He's been a huge help to me with setups and, you know, just really getting the hang of these super late models. I really struggled with them for a while. And Beechridge Barber Shop, Matt on Route 1 in Scarborough, he's the man. I really want to give a shout out to everyone that's been a part of this. And so I really want to thank everybody for that.
And that's going to be the 37th second place runner, Nathan Barth. Congratulations. Good luck next week. Again, we're back here at Hickory. Maybe you can find some new things to fine tune as we get there shortly.
Thank you.
And now we head to Victory Lane. Hey, we talked to this guy earlier in Victory Lane in the late models. Well, he swept the night here at Hickory. It's Devin Landry in the 54. Devin, congratulations on the win. Man, this one seemed a little easier than the late models one was.
Yeah, it was really a blessing to get that pole on the heat race. What I didn't realize is I had started like building a heat race setup, and that was my actual race setup. So I got in the heat race and I had 2 gallons of fuel, and I didn't realize it. And I was wondering why my car wouldn't turn. And then I got into the garage, and well, we had 2 gallons of fuel in the thing. So it was kind of a scare that if we had too many cautions, we would have ran out of fuel.
Yeah, no, that is a serious situation to be in, not knowing. But Devin, you got the victory done, sweeping here at Hickory. Hickory again next week. How are you feeling about your confidence level now, knowing that you already swept the late model and the super late models, and we're doing the same thing next Wednesday night?
Well, I gotta come from the back in those ones, so we'll see. It might be a little difficult. I really do think it will be, but I think I will definitely grind out all these setups, get them a lot better to come up through the field. I really think I can do it. I really think I can.
Well, Devin, congratulations on the win once again. And like we did for the late models, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
I gotta get a huge thanks to Matt Burgoyne. We tested, and it's kind of boring testing by yourself, so it's good to have another soul to talk to. Kind of feel bad. He had a rough night. I got to thank all the sponsors of the series, Sean for running it, and you guys for broadcasting it.
And that's going to be Devin Landry in the 54, getting another win here in the super late models. Congratulations, Devin, on that, and good luck next week.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, well, that is going to conclude our night's evening of racing. You got to see late models, super late models, both being swept by that of Devin Landry, and it was incredible racing up here, up in the booth. Well, I got to give a big thanks again to all the sponsors we've talked about throughout the night from Maine Sim Racing Series. And I got to say, this whole entire series, they put on a great show each and every time they're on. And we're going to be back covering these guys next week here at Hickory once again. Everything you just saw, well, let's double down. We're excited to be covering it all here on LSRTV. Thanks again for everyone that watched throughout the night. For us, we'll be back in just a few moments, in a few days, I should say, as we're excited for more racing action here on LSRTV. But for tonight, we're going to call it a night. It was a good one. Hickory put on a great show. We can't wait to watch for more. Thank you again to LSRTV Studios, Charles Wooten for coming up into the booth. Can't wait for John to be up in the booth next week. We will see how everything continues on. To Jeff Stabnow, to Rocket Media LLC, and all those that help on put on the show. My name is Sam Dyer with Charles Wooten, and also all the amazing racers and race control. Have a great night. We'll see you all next week.